Welcome to Biz Takeouts, Biz Community soundbite-sized news on the go. I'm your host, Cindy Peters, and as part of our Youth Matters feature this June, we're turning the spotlight on the people and organizations that are doing the most when it comes to youth empowerment in South Africa. Our guest today is Gqomo, founding director of the Womandla Foundation, a local NPO whose mission is to inform, empower, and equip women and girls with the tools and skills necessary to live out their destiny. Sam, thank you for joining us. And if you could jump in here and share with us a bit about the origins of the organization and how it is Womandla goes about striving towards its mission.
Womandla Foundation is a nonprofit company, and we really seek to bridge the gender gap by upskilling and training African women specifically so that they can, further their own economic development and then also make contributions to their communities and society at large. So as you mentioned, our objectives is to celebrate and empower women in Africa and also across the globe. Want to showcase and portray Africa in a positive light, especially African women, and we collaborate with other organizations to promote social innovation, public education, community enrichment and transformation. So we provide some relevant programs in all spheres, really, technologies, media, skills development, mentorship, which is one of our pillars, and all sectors that will sort of empower women and girls to live out their destinies. So we have 4 pillars, and that's STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. We have mentorship, and then we have entrepreneurship and development.
Okay. And what do your programs entail exactly? What does it look like practically on the groundwork?
Right, so it depends on the pillar. So they're not ongoing programs. It really depends on, project-based funding firstly, and then of course each pillar, what they can then run. Yeah, exactly. So with STEAM, for example, we host coding workshops to teach beginners and people who don't know how to code. Then right now, like for entrepreneurship and development, we've partnered with Mancosa, and we are really affording 20 women in Africa the 21st Century Skills Certificate. And this will help them to thrive and compete in, AI-driven realities and the workforce and where it's heading with 4IR, but really developing some skills for them to be even more resourceful at work. And then our other pillar is mentorship, and this is an ongoing mentorship program, so to speak, where we touch on, sisterhood, identity. We do vision board workshops, and we really just connect with the girls in Langa Township here in Cape Town on a personal level, to give them that safe space to talk, to dream, and to expose them to various things and various careers. So that's basically what we do.
Okay, and can you share with us one of the success stories from some of these programs and pillars?
Yes, well, right now we're currently in a success story where with our workshops, we've partnered with another company of which they take on 2 of the students and provide them with learnerships, a 3-month learnership, so to make them work ready. Another success story is really more the feedback we get from the girls that we have mentored of how their, mindsets have changed, how they've been exposed really to more careers outside the ones that they know, and really to boost and build and how we've built confidence in them by, you know, their presentation skills, and really just being able to be open about their dreams and desires. So those are the heartwarming stories that we hear and the feedback that we get that makes us feel that we really are making an impact to the individual, you know, which will impact their lives.
That sounds amazing. And in your experience, what would you say are some of the toughest challenges some of these young women face in terms of meeting their goals and achieving their destinies?
Well, you know, for mentorship particularly, it's quite difficult because the biggest problem and challenge that we've met at the schools is that the girls don't have sanitary towels or anything really for that time of the month. And so it's quite difficult to talk about everything else that seems, all about, your dreams and etc. when you sometimes can't even attend school. So almost immediately, once we started our mentorship program, we had to raise either funds or receive donations from the general public to support and sponsor them with sanitary towels or, whatever that they can use for that time. So that's now a subsidiary sort of efforts that we are making so that we can keep these girls in school, because it's a problem that they will miss out for something that is biological and natural. So that's one of the key problems. Another one based on that is that some teachers now want to take these donations and then resell them for a personal profit. And it just really defeats the objective of ours of trying to help when half these girls or even more cannot afford this. And then other issues that we've also found is really that you want to boost a child's confidence, but then and this is the young girl specifically, and then it's all basically stamped or trampled upon when they go home to abusive families, or they are looked after by guardians and they're abused. And it's such a dichotomy of what we're trying to achieve and their realities. So that's on one scale. On the other, with coding, etc., in the STEAM sort of pillar and environment, is you want to teach someone something, but they cannot continue on their own because they might not have the iPad or a computer to practice on to better their skills. So it's one of those things that, we would love to have a lab one day that, would be open and run for them to come in and practice and get better,
And I imagine it's quite challenging doing it alone. So you definitely need those partners to come on board and assist wherever they can in tackling these challenges. How can the business community support the work that you guys are doing?
Well, I mean, the main focus where businesses can come in to support us is definitely funding. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, we work with a project-based funding. So if we propose something and it is supported, and we get a go-ahead, then that's how some of our activities run. But if we were to have ongoing funding, from big institutions or small ones, each company should really be doing good work towards the CSI strategies, then that's something I can jump in, consult with, so that they can either create activities that we can partner in so that it's mutually beneficial, or support us by funding our initiatives.
Okay. And you participated in the World Youth Forum in Egypt in 2018. What was that experience like? And how does South Africa sort of compare to the rest of Africa when it comes to youth empowerment?
Wow, Egypt, that was amazing because, well, the traveling is great, and a sort of fully paid trip is also even better. But it was awesome to see in really in Africa's context, on TV about these countries and places is really not the case. And also to see the support, you know, from the Egypt's government in ruling out and running such a massive conference, because there were 5,000 people from all over the world present. And I think the greatest thing for me was to firstly be in a place in a very developed, very rich, you know, country in Africa, and meeting like-minded people from across the world. I think it just spoke to really the richness of Africa, the potential we have, and of course, if we were partnered with the right people, how far and wide, you know, the reach can be in doing good work. So, I mean, we also got to see a little bit of Egypt. So it was just an amazing, amazing trip, because it just opened my eyes, it inspired me, and it really just ignited the fire in me in doing, you know, or seeing what other countries are doing and trying by all means to come and implement it back here in South Africa.
Mm. And I imagine COVID must have affected some of your work quite a bit. Can you speak more to that and how you've sort of worked around the pandemic and the restrictions that have been implemented?
So COVID really absolutely changed the way we operate, because a lot of our programs need personal contact, firstly, because we are, as a team, we bring the resources, or we find spaces that we can use, public spaces, of which all of them were closed. Secondly, I mean, more especially in the beginning of the year, when no one was allowed anywhere, we couldn't support our girls with mentorship. We couldn't donate or give the pads that we normally have and sanitary wear. We couldn't run any of our programs, really. And so the biggest challenge for us was then finding alternative ways of communication and connection, of which cost for data, and, you know, some don't have cell phones, again, was another challenge for us. So we had to find ways and means to speak through, firstly, the teachers to get to the girls. And I think our plans, I mean, we also normally have the STEM Awards, where we celebrate women in STEM. And those we basically had to cancel, because it's at the point where we were trying to put it all together, we weren't where we could do a hybrid approach. Whereas this year we are having our STEM Awards, and we're definitely going to implement that. So last year was a year of learning, a year of seeing where this year would look like in terms of technology and what we will use to connect. And of course, also with feeding schemes. I mean, schools generally feed the kids, and we found ourselves having to also, you know, create campaigns to try and get donations for even food during the beginning of COVID for some of the schools and programs we support, because normally they would eat at school or the program, but this was not the case, and many of their families had lost their jobs. So it was a tough year for us. A lot of our plans were put on hold, but we definitely had a lot of learnings of what to do next, and which companies and people can support us in the future.
Okay. And for Youth Month, is Womandla Foundation doing anything special?
So for Youth Month, our strategy is very much online and social. We're creating a lot of content. We're having new podcasts, which is something we haven't done before, where we really just spark conversations that can be shared or listened to at any time. Really just to uplift the youth and give positive messages across all our platforms. And that's what we're doing this year. Also, because of, you know, COVID regulations, of course. So that's where we are focusing our efforts.
Okay. And just to close off, can you give us your message for the youth of South Africa?
Right. So I'd just like to say to the youth, we're in trying times, and many challenges have come to the fore. And, it's quite difficult in South Africa right now, just how economically, with youth unemployment, with education. But I think my message for the youth of South Africa is that we've seen from those youth that fought for our rights in the past that at the end of the day, whatever we stick to, whichever vision we have for our future, we can collectively, as a team and as a force, run it out. It can happen. So my message is that amid challenges, we need to find the silver lining and the focus and the vision and the unity to drive out what our future should look like.
Yeah, keep the hope alive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sam, for your time, and we wish you the best of luck for the rest of June with your Youth Month campaigns. And yeah, all the best with Womandla Foundation as well. And yeah, good luck.
Thank you so much, Cindy, and thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. For more business news, views, and exclusive interviews, visit Bizcommunity.com.